Hey, folks, Washington, D.C., lots of drama. Donald Trump has forced out the police chief of Washington, D.C. Attorney General Pam Bondi has appointed the DEA commissioner to take over the police department. Washington, D.C. responds by suing the Trump administration, saying it do not have the power to do so. Now, Trump has declared there's an emergency in the nation's capital, which gives him the authority to take over Washington, D.C.'s police force. But D.C. is fighting back. Mayor Muriel Bowser, of course, who was, going forward with their initial takeover, saying they now are overstepping their authority in the nation's capital. What you have now seen is federal law enforcement, even ICE agents, taking people off the streets and arresting them and taking them to court. It's been a whole bunch of stuff that's been happening in the nation's capital. And now we have an escalating legal battle over presidential authority over the District of Columbia. I want to bring in reporter Lauren Victoria Burke of Black Press USA right now. And Lauren, glad to have you here. So a couple of things, Lauren. First and foremost, this lawsuit, if you will, the city is filing against the Trump administration. They're claiming they are overstepping their bounds by, in essence, taking over the police department. The mayor says they don't have that authority to command local personnel.
Right. And apparently they don't, because in court today, in federal court, effectively the government, the DOJ folks got scared and left, and they're going to come back. They're going to reword what they wrote and come back. Obviously, their authority is very questionable. A lot of people are asking, well, why didn't D.C. challenge the federal government on Monday and not just sort of capitulate to the idea of this state of emergency thing in the first place, which is not a bad question. But at any rate, this round was won by the city of D.C., by the District of Columbia, by Mayor Muriel Bowser and her AG, Brian Schwab. They won effectively in court this moment. So the police chief, Pam Smith, is still in charge of the D.C. police force. It is a very questionable and big mystery as to, are they apprehending people? Who is being apprehended? Where are they ending up? And frankly, when I was in court today, it was extremely confusing because I couldn't figure out who was in there in terms of whether it was related to ICE arrest or not, or DC Metropolitan arrest or not. There were so many people in court that it was quite confusing. But the bottom line of your question, Roland, is that the District of Columbia did win a round. About 30 minutes ago, the mayor came out and made an announcement effectively that, their police chief is still in charge at this moment.
Talk about that what court was like, because you said it was just one of the most shocking things you ever witnessed.
Okay, I was confused, frankly. I usually do federal court related things because it's members of Congress and federal court trials, etc. So I hadn't been in a municipal court in a while. This is D.C. Superior Court. And for those who may not be familiar, close to the Capitol, in a section called Judiciary Square, there were a number of Free DC, there's a group called Free DC protesters out and about, and I'd heard from one of them that, look, if ICE apprehended somebody tonight, or last night, I should say, in the last 24 hours, they should be appearing in court at 1:30. In the basement of D.C. Superior Court. Really, the basement section is where a courtroom C10 is. I go down there. There's a docket listing in an electronic board that goes on forever. At any rate, I go in, and when I say I was shocked, I mean, this whole process is just really shocking. All black defendants, and I understand, of course, that D.C. is 42% black, but still, there's this feeling of the sausage being made of people's lives being upended by relatively low-level crimes in there, by the way. It's nothing crazy. The judge was really sitting there gaveling everybody into hey, we're going to let you go and you can come back in 30 days. But they come in shackled. Everybody comes in shackled. So what was sort of shocking to me, it probably shouldn't have been, given the fact my dad was a prison guard at Rikers Island. But at any rate, they come in shackled at the waist and at leg ironed. And as the judge decides what their fate will be, they become unshackled. But all black men and their families are in the audience, very young. Everybody's really young, the family members, the folks coming in. So that was a jolt to me. And it was a shame because, as you may know, Roland, this whole operation that Donald Trump has going on apparently costs $400,000 a day. And effectively, they're concentrating on homeless people. Well, with $400,000 a day, you could figure out new schools, all sorts of activities, housing, affordable housing. So it's a shame when you watch up close our criminal justice system, what it does to people. It's demoralizing. There's a lot of young people going through that, and it is really sad to watch.
Well, that is certainly the case, and to your point there, folks don't understand what's going on. I mean, are you having federal charges? Are you having, frankly, state charges, local charges?
Right.
Who's
Right.
in control? Who's doing what? And so it's a whole lot of confusion, and that's what happens when you do something haphazard and you just sort of just throw it together.
And even worse, Roland, I went out relatively late last night in D.C. I decided to drive around and walk around and see if I could find the same mayhem we saw on 14th Street. Good for the folks of 14th Street, mostly white folks, and what D.C. would call, of course, the gentrifiers out there. But still, they did a good job at really rousing that situation up and getting ICE off the street and saying, get off of our streets effectively. But at any rate, I went walking around the city. It was very quiet, not much going on. When I was in Ubers today, I asked all the Uber drivers, hey, are you seeing checkpoints? What are you seeing? Nothing. But one of the open questions about the way that Trump does things is, are these sworn police officers? We don't know that. I mean, some of these people do have insignia and have patches, and some of them don't. And a lot of them have masks on. So it's an open question in some of these proceedings. Who's arresting them? Is it federal or local? And now you got Pam Bondi. You have Trump's Justice Department deciding that they want to take over the police force. The question has to be asked, where is that leading? Take over the police force to do what? So that's what the primary problem is here.
All right, then, long Victoria Burke, we still appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us on today's show. I want to bring in my Friday panel. Glad to have y'all here on the show. Joining us right now, Michael Imhotep, host African History Network show out of Detroit. Matt Manning, civil rights attorney out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Cameron Trimble, CEO, Hip Politics Media, and former White House senior advisor. I want to start with you, Matt. Listen, when you don't even know legally who the heck is in control, that creates all sorts of problems. And I'm sure as a defense lawyer, you're like, what the hell's going on? Who's in charge? What's happening here?
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of a fundamental idea that in order for a court to operate, they've got to have subject matter jurisdiction. I think you've got a jurisdictional question when you have somebody arresting you that may not have authority to do that, or that authority is in question by virtue of the fact that they are exercising an authority that they don't actually have. You see that kind of thing happen where, somebody is, for instance, an officer on the state level, as an analog, might arrest somebody in a jurisdiction that's not his or hers. States generally have laws about whether that officer actually has authority to do it in that place if he's not an officer that's got, jurisdiction in that jurisdiction normally. So this is kind of that kind of question. I think it implicates some of those questions, and it specifically comes from the idea that Mr. Trump is trying to exercise authority that he does not have, that constitutionally. And as you've talked about on this show, and as I think the guest just mentioned, there's a sovereignty issue, right? D.C. has its own municipal courts. As you know, I went to Howard, right? And I've been in those very courts myself. And those courts have a field of jurisdiction, and they have officers whose decisions and whose arrests take them into those courts. The idea that the federal government can overstep D.C. sovereignty and say, now we're going to supplant the Metropolitan PD officers there with National Guard or other federal officers who don't normally have this authority is extremely problematic, and it creates the cascade effect, because now it just becomes we're just going to grab all of the authority that we want. Constitution, laws, and customs be damned. And this is a tip of the iceberg, but we know that this is exactly what this administration is attempting to do more and more. Just continue to grab more power and say, check me on it. And that's what we're seeing happen in real time, to the tune of $400,000 a day, which is absurd, especially from people who have spent so much time talking about waste, fraud, and abuse. This is per se waste, fraud, and abuse.
Michael, the Bowser administration obviously tried to placate the Trump administration when this thing started on Monday, but clearly they recognized the go along to get along strategy was not working.
Yeah, now you and I and the panelists know that Muriel Bowser is in a different position than other mayors of other cities. But yeah, and she has to walk a tightrope, and I totally understand that. But the go along to get along wasn't working like with the masses of people, but also I think you have to know when to pick your battles and make sure that you're on strong legal footing to do so. This would be an example of being able to really hit back when you're on strong legal footing, because the DC Attorney General said that the Trump administration does not have the legal authority to put somebody that Pat Smith, chief of police, has to report to. Okay, so we know Pam Bondi put Terry Cole, of the DEA, in charge of the police department, and it basically stripped Pat Smith, police chief, of authority to make decisions, things of this nature. So this is a very good legal argument, and it's this fight here, Roland, is resonating with the base, resonating especially with African Americans who want to see them fight back. But if I could just quickly interject here, Roland, one, we all know this is an authoritarian attempt by Donald Trump to distract from the Epstein files, number one. Number two, if he really wanted to continue the decrease in crime in Washington, D.C. has made some strides in the past couple of years in bringing down crime. One, he will restore the $1 billion in mental health grants that the Biden administration put in place, because the Trump administration revoked that. It's $1 billion in grants for promoting mental health in schools. But also it's not just Washington, D.C. It's grants all across the country. And Cameron, that's the problem here. I understand that.
You can't say you care about crime. No, I understand. 1 second, Cameron. You can't say you care about crime, but then you want to actually cut the actual crime prevention programs.
Exactly, Roland. Like we realize this is all bluster. This is
Cameron.
Can you hear me? Yes, Roland, exactly right. I think this feels like this is
Cameron there.
Yeah, Roland, I'm here in studio in D.C. And I think from the ground, it feels like this is a powder keg waiting to happen. Like I spent the last few days walking around, driving around D.C., trying to really get a feel for it's almost like you're living in two DCs. There's tanks and Humvees and militaries over at the Union stations and Foggy Bottoms and a few different black neighborhoods. It's flooding all of our social media and our timeline. But then you also see it's quiet and you walk around the U.S. Capitol and it feels like it's every day. It's just a normal day in August in D.C. But it feels like this is an attempt and a test, as the other panelists said, to let me try to grab all the power I can, see who tries to check me on it, and then see how many other places I can implement this. Because this is definitely a fear tactic. Notice he's targeting big cities. These big cities happen to have black mayors, and they happen to be Democratic strongholds. So anything he can do to break that will, he's doing. But what I will say, and what I am encouraged by, you see so many people just driving here to the studio. I see so many different people of all shades with signs, posters, things to talk out against the Trump administration. So I feel like it's a powder keg waiting to happen, because if this keeps happening and people keep feeling infringed upon, you're going to see more massive protests and more uprising, I think, of people looking to push back against this overreach.
Be sure to register for my new online history course. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. This class is on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to start Saturday, August 6th, 2025. Go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and scroll down. This is African empires, the Moors, and the transatlantic slave trade, 5000 BC to 1800 AD. This is a 10-week online course. We're actually going to start on Saturday, September 6th. Click right here to register. Class is on sale, $80. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. And one of the things we'll talk about are various African empires, whether we talk about ancient Nubia or the Kush Empire, ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, Great Zimbabwe, Carthage, the knock culture. We're going Merowe, Axum. We're going through and looking at history, thousands of years of history, various African empires, and then also we'll deal with the transatlantic slave trade and how it evolved. So we'll look at history from 5000 BC through 1800 AD. You'll get 5 of my lectures in digital download format free with this. And then also be sure to download our class lesson plan here as well. Click on the download button to download our class lesson plan. And visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Our social media handles are here as well. And you can email me through the website. Just click on contact the African History Network. So this class is PG-13. You can use this content with your children. Also, I don't do a lot of cursing or anything like that. It's very visual. There are 80 to 100 articles that we reference in the class. I show you the articles on the screen. The 15 books that we reference. You don't have to buy any of the books. We show you the books we show you the pages of the books on the screen as well. And there are 200 slides in the class also. Okay. So I have a PowerPoint presentation. There are video clips that we show, excerpts of interviews I've done with some of our historians. I've been teaching this class on and off since 2017. So it has evolved immensely since then. Also, you can support the African History Network through PayPal and Cash App. We have the information right on the homepage of my website. If you scroll down, $ the AHN show through Cash App and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. This is our Cash App. Tag $ the AHN show, SHOW. When you go to it, it'll say Michael and show my picture there. Okay, these are some fake African History Network Cash App accounts that have been stealing money from us. And I put our tag right here. Here's our link to our Cash App, QR code. Okay, so you can support us there if you want to donate support us $5, $10, $15, $25, $50, $100, whatever it is. It definitely helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, pay some of the bills, and broadcast the Sunday night show also. And here's our link for PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Okay. All right. So look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over.